Greetings, loved ones. Today we're going to talk about trauma triggers and how to identify and overcome them. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You could save a life. When you encounter a trigger after trauma, a strong emotional and behavioral reaction comes over you. It's as if you're reliving that trauma all over again. The word triggered has become a popular term to describe anything that causes emotional discomfort. But for people who have experienced triggers can be terrifying, all-consuming, and can seemingly come out of nowhere. Trauma triggers can be anything that reminds you of a past trauma, which might include a certain smell, a particular song or sound, or a piece of clothing. Triggers are unique to the individual. Trauma is known to have a long-lasting and repetitive effect on our minds. And however, in the middle of all of this, I want you to know there is hope for those who have experienced trauma's after effects. Trauma-informed care and other treatments can help you live a happy and fulfilling life. So what are triggers? A trigger can be anything that sparks a memory of a trauma or a part of a trauma. And when you encounter a trigger, memories and thoughts associated with the trauma come back without warning. You can't stop the intrusive thoughts, and in response, you feel a turn in your emotions and you begin to react. A trigger might make you feel helpless, panicked, unsafe, and overwhelmed with emotion. You might feel the same things that you felt at the time of the trauma, as though you were reliving the event. The mind perceives triggers as a threat and causes a reaction like fear, panic, or agitation. So think of the reaction to triggers as a defense mechanism. The memory of the traumatic event places you right back into the experience, which causes your walls to go up against the perceived threat in an attempt to protect yourself. Flashbacks, although uncommon, can be set off by triggers. So how we respond when triggered depends on the person and can range in severity. After encountering a trigger, it can take some time for your nervous system to recover and return to baseline. And this is partly because trauma reduces your window of tolerance, the emotional zone in which you feel grounded, balanced, and calm. A smaller window of tolerance means stressors are more likely to cause greater emotional upset. Experiencing triggers is a defining feature of post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD. Triggers are often key events in which PTSD symptoms arise or are noticed. So how do you deal with triggers from trauma? First of all, healing from trauma is challenging and it takes time. It may feel like the easiest way to overcome it is to avoid it or pretend it is not happening. However, it is best to spot your triggers, to learn how to manage them instead of avoiding them. Even if you're not sure what has triggered you, there are steps that you can take. So when a trigger leaves you feeling emotionally flooded, you can try following these steps to soothe and regulate your nervous system. First, focus on what's happening in the here and now. Then you can remind yourself that this is a common reaction to a traumatic event, and yes, you can get through it. You can also perform breathing exercises to calm your mind. Breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Doing that repeatedly can help calm you. And you can manage the trigger with different ways to cope, such as using the Flashback halting protocol. What is this Flashback halting protocol? Like I said, triggers can make it feel like you are living this traumatic event all over again. And the Flashback halting protocol aims to help stop the flashback and bring you back to the present moment. This can help your mind and your body realize that the trauma is not actually happening anymore. So the next time you find yourself faced with a flashback, try reading and answering these questions to yourself. Right now, I am feeling scared, anxious, panicky, sad, etc. Another question, comment to fill out. And I am sensing in my body, shaking, sweating, dizziness, whatever. Because I am remembering the bad person, the vehicle, the war, whatever it was. And at the same time, it is now, say, the current date and time. And I am here at, name the place you're at. And I can see, name 5 objects around you. And so I know that blank, the trauma, is not happening now. And that's a pretty good practice, something to train yourself to do. So how can we identify a trigger? Sometimes you can quickly identify a trigger and begin to anticipate it. However, our triggers can also be subtle and even surprising. Once you've identified a trigger, you've taken the first step to learning to manage it. Triggers often feel unpredictable, but when we identify our triggers, we find connections between events and feelings or sights that can cause an immediate emotional or behavioral reaction. And there are different ways to accomplish this. First of all, you can start a journal and write down your thoughts and your feelings and the environment at the time of your flashbacks or feelings of panic. Here are some prompts on what to write, but you could include this as you're writing this down. First of all, what did you hear? What did you see? What did you smell? How are you feeling? Then you can begin making connections and identifying similarities to identify your triggers. If you're ready to seek professional help for possible trauma symptoms, you can work with a psychotherapist or a counselor to identify your potential triggers. An experienced mental health professional can also provide an outside view of your reactions and help you locate their possible causes. So what are the next steps? When you are reminded of a life-changing traumatic event, it can take over your life and lead to adverse effects on your psychological and physical health. If you feel ready to talk to someone about it, consider looking for a trauma-focused treatment. Treatment supported by frontline research can drastically decrease the frequency of the effects of the triggers, for example, decreasing intrusive memories. So if you are ready for help, go seek the help. And the question for us is not if we will encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is what will we do when we do encounter them? You know, you actually could be the person who saves a life. You are called, we are all called to be champions for justice. And those who suffer violence, they need to know that those who love them and those who don't even know them will reach out to them and give them the help they need before it's too late. If you're a victim of violence, listen to me. You are valued. You are loved. You are intelligent, and yes, you are worthy. God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. There is a way out. It's not your fault. Abuse is not love, and you are not alone. If you're a victim of violence, reach out to someone today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. And if you know someone suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we're going to talk more about this topic of trauma triggers. Until then, God bless you.